simply defies the laws of physics. And watching him in action, you would be forgiven for thinking he was an alien from another planet. But hidden behind the helmet is flesh, blood, skin and bone. A human being who has been wowing audiences across the world for well over a decade. Since he started stunt biking way back in 1980, Chris Pfeiffer has been credited with taking what was largely an underground activity and making it mainstream with his unique style. A potent mix of gymnastics, dance and incredible riding skill that had the audience in Mumbai mesmerized.
All that stuff you just saw on TV, what do you call the guy who does all of that stuff? Demigod? God? God alone knows. But today on the Overdrive show, we've got with us Chris Pfeiffer. Chris,
Hi.
Hello. Welcome to Overdrive. Now, Chris is four-time world stunt riding champion, four-time European stunt riding champion, four-time Red Bull Extreme Moto champion. And that's a lot of stuff to, pack into a career. Chris, how have you been doing it all this time?
Well, actually, stunt riding is my third career after being on dirt bikes, and it takes me all around the world. Finally, I'm here in India. It was a white spot on my map, and I'm really, really happy to finally ride in India and get such a good impression. Good vibes so far here.
Great. I'm glad you're really enjoying India, because this is the hottest season to be in India.
Yeah.
And riding here is going to be a real challenge. And doing the stuff that you do, how tough is that?
Well, it's all about practice. You need to learn it step by step. Stunt riding is really a dangerous thing when you're a beginner. Then as an advanced or professional rider, it's less dangerous, but still there is some danger involved, of course, and you try to handle it as good as possible. But sometimes you are falling, of course. If you don't fall, you're not pushing hard enough.
So you've been riding from 5 years old, and 7 you started competitive riding.
I started with 10 years competitions in trials, later enduro, and then stunt riding.
What have you felt was the most fulfilling? I mean, now you're doing stunt riding as a full-time.
I'm a lucky person who found out what I'm really talented in, and this is stunt riding, definitely. Racing was nice, trials was nice, but here it's so much easier for me. And as I said, I'm one of these lucky persons who found out what's easy for them.
So what made you choose, the F800, BMWs, and they're lighter bikes, they're more torquier motorcycles, but what made you choose the F800?
It's very, very torquey, and the torque was one reason why I liked the engine so much. BMW gave me a test ride, and I said oh yeah, that has potential. And you have to feel comfortable on a bike from the first minute, and I had this feeling on this bike. Most of the other stunters use 4-cylinder 600 Japanese sport bikes. I don't like it. This bike fits much better to my riding style.
Has there anything to do with the German connection, you being German and BMW also based out of there?
That's a really nice side effect, but I just want to choose the best bike.
There's been a lot of modification on your bike as well. You've changed a lot of stuff. You've got a large, massive sprocket on it.
Yeah.
And you've got the brakes on the front and everything. How does stunt riding involve all of this as well?
I have the typical stunt riding modifications. You need this big sprocket, you need a handbrake and all that stuff. I can do basic stuff on a standard bike, but for the really technical trick, you need this setup.
In addition to the F800R, which he calls his second wife, Chris also showed off his skill on a smaller and more agile Beta Trials bike. And even after a decade of traveling the world and putting his body on the line, he is still innovating, pushing well beyond his and the bike's limits to produce the next big stunt.
So what is that stunt you really enjoyed doing the most? What's that, that makes the crowd go, ooh!
Yeah, there are crowd pleasers and there are tricks that make you satisfied. And usually I love it so much when I can show my latest trick that I'm working on and fighting with, when I can show this in front of the crowd. And I can do now sit down, no hands, wheelie circles. And I was practicing them for years, and now they are pretty solid. And that makes me really happy.
And I think this is the one discipline that's actually got you a lot more fan following. People are really crazy about the stuff that you do, and I guess it's the generation that's all coming up. There are lots of stunters that you've seen in India as well.
Yeah, it's all around the world. And I'm astonished how many good riders you can find here in India with all the small bikes coming up who are pretty good for stunting. More and more young people get into the sport, and yeah, it's also something that's caused by the internet, because they can see all our video clips and learn from that. And everywhere in the world there is stunting. It's phenomenal.
You're married, you've got 3 kids, and you must be what, 40 years old?
Yeah.
And you still do this stuff. Where does all that energy come from?
From the sport. It keeps you fresh, and I'm still very motivated to continue as long as I have new ideas. And I think if I've done an office job, I would be much older in the head. And 40 is only a number. It's always how you feel, and I want to continue because I can live my dream with this.
And talking about office job, you majored in biology, if I'm not mistaken, and,
Yeah.
and that's something else. I mean, that's the human body on one side, and that's like the machine over here on the other side. What made you, drift towards the machine?
I studied biology and physical education for becoming a teacher, and when I finished the examination, I already had a lot of shows and I could make a living out of it, and so I said, like, 1 year I want to go just for riding, and I'm still on this how do you say in English? Yeah, it's still the same.
Yeah.
And I'm for sure not going to be a teacher in the future. I'm going to stay with sports and most probably with motorcycle business.
All right, Chris.
Thank you.